Do you hate your voice? Let me ask again. Do you hate your voice? If you do, I mean, you want to watch this show till the end because I'll be sharing with you a few hacks, a few tips on how to improve things, how to actually improve the overall quality, not just the delivery, but also the tones, the cadence that you need to follow. Okay, so here are my opening remarks. When you think about hitting your voice, this is actually a pretty recurrent complaint that we hear in the podcasting industry overall. So I hate my voice. It's actually one of the most frequently heard complaints in podcasting. Blah, 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 blah. The question is, what do you hate about your voice? Is that the tone? Is that the quality? Is that the delivery? Is that the cadence? You got to really have a clear idea about what your dislike really means for you, okay? So one thing for sure, you're not alone. I just want to reassure you, when you think that you actually hate your voice, you're not the only one, okay? I don't think I'm alone in saying that you do not actually are not the only person who actually hits his or her voice. And the thing is, as humans, we are actually predisposed to hitting the sound of our own speech. It is actually irrational when you think about it, but it's totally normal. Okay, you want to embrace it and don't worry about it. Don't try to really make a fuss out of it. It's just it's just a waste of time. Okay. It's worth remembering the way you hear your voice is kind of different from the way other people hear it, okay? And it's one of those things where you have to really understand that it's totally normal. And the one thing I want you to really remember is that your voice is actually an instrument, okay? As a podcaster, you've got to think of your voice as an instrument. You are communicating a certain piece of content to your audience. You are adding value. You are actually engaging. You are actually lifting people up. You are improving lives. That's what I want you to think about. I want you to think about the positivity and forget about the negativity, okay? And so talking about having your voice as an instrument, the thing is that if you think of it as an instrument, it's actually bound to get better with practice. As your confidence and skills grow, you will find that your voice improves. And if you don't actually believe me, you want to listen to episode 1 of a podcast series and then listen to episode 50 or even 100, okay? In most cases, you will notice a significant difference. Even the channel that you are watching right now, I want you to go back and look at the oldest video on this channel and compare it to maybe this one or another one down the road. So it's totally normal. Do not actually sweat it. Let me give you a few pro tips here. If you hate your voice this year, I want you to really, I want to share with you a few tips and hacks that will help you actually understand how important it is to be in the right mindset. First of all, you want to break the mental barrier, okay? The whole thing is that you got to ask yourself, that's what I was asking you a little earlier. What do you hate about your voice? When you say, I hate my voice, I want you to pinpoint for me what exactly, and the key word here is exactly. What exactly do you hate about your voice? So when you are recording your podcast, keep your voice as natural as possible, okay? Don't put on let's say don't put on a voice like you're talking as if you are Mr. X or Mrs. Y. No, talk as if you are talking with your friends and family. It's one of those things where you are having a conversation. You are having a conversation. You're not giving a speech to anyone. You're not giving a speech to your listeners. You're not really having a conversation with anybody out there. You're having a conversation with a bunch of friends. Your listeners are your friends. Your listeners are your family. They like you. They like your content. They like your voice. Whether or not you believe it or not, if somebody hates your voice, they're not going to listen to your podcast. So if you have listeners, even if you have 5 listeners, if you have 10 listeners, if you have 100 listeners, I want you to cherish those listeners a lot because they are actually your family, okay? There is nothing quite so obvious as someone affecting a voice. Like if you're trying to really pretend that you are who you are, you are not in the first place, okay? So when if you actually pretend, it sounds false. Be authentic and work with an instrument you've been blessed with. The universe has blessed you with a voice. Now it's up to you to really ask yourself, what am I going to do with it? Okay. And again, when you actually close your eyes and think about you hitting your voice, I want you to switch things around and say, you know what? I love my voice. I love my voice the way it is, and now I'm going to do my best to improve it. And so you want to break the mental barrier. That's the first thing you want to do. Break the mental barrier, and you want to think about. You can take one aspect and work on one on that aspect for several days. Like think about the cadence, think about the tone, think about the quality, think about the echo, think about all those things. To improve your voice this year, I want you to vary the pace. This sort of goes back to what I said about the kittens, right? Vary the pace, very important. It's actually unusual to speak at the same pace for any length of time. Think about it. Blah 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 blah. Whew. Take a breath. You want to breathe. Okay, it's one of those things where you want to really pace yourself. The thing is, you do not want to sound robotic. You do not want to sound like as if you are reading something aloud and maintain the same pace over and over and over again. I want you to really breathe, okay? And the thing is that as you are trying to have a conversation with your audience, you're gonna realize that even in a normal conversation, we all humans we alter the speed of our delivery naturally because you have to breathe, right? You have to actually allow your organs to actually breathe a little bit. So this is one of those things where as you are having a podcast, you want to have the same sort of routine too. Find ways to experiment with your delivery. It's one of those things where don't try to really force things. The more you do this, the more you're going to realize that it actually will come naturally, okay? You did not actually start walking on day one. It took you a while as a toddler. You actually had to crawl first before actually start walking. Even when you started walking, you weren't walking as you are walking today, right? So it takes time. So you want to find ways to experiment with your delivery, and you got to really also make sure that you do things based on you. You want to follow your own routine. You want to follow your own cadence, your own pace. Everything you do has to actually be in sync with you deep inside, like what really makes you comfortable. Don't try to really imitate anybody else, okay? Because everybody else is already taken. You want to emulate only one person, yourself. So in talking about finding ways to experiment with your delivery, you want to vary the rhythm, and your voice will become a more dynamic instrument. I want to insist on the instrument part of things because your voice is actually a pretty interesting artifact in your arsenal. Kind of help you communicate a lot better with your staff over time, and this is going to help you actually engage with your community a lot more in the long run. If you want to improve your voice as a podcaster, you want to really pay attention to pauses, and not just any kind of pauses. I'm speaking here about dramatic pauses, and those dramatic pauses are really important in the sense that it really helps you a lot in hooking up. You want to hook up your audience. You want to really understand that those dramatic pauses should be at very important, like let's say, consequential elements, right? Consequential phases of your delivery. It's one of those things where you don't have to talk like for 1 hour. If your podcast is 1 hour, going back to what I said, you want to breathe. Take some pauses, okay? So and those pauses actually could be for any reason. Maybe you want to really draw the audience in, or you ask the question and you want folks to actually think about it. It's one of those things where you want to really, you want to emphasize. I mean, in the industry, experts call it dramatic pauses, but we call it actually emphatic pauses. Okay, you're emphasizing something. And silence, as a matter of fact, is a dramatic pause. Silence can be a great asset for podcasters. And a dramatic pause captures attention and acts as an audible exclamation mark. It can feel a bit unnatural, but try it. Try it. You want to start a little and try it. And a presentation trainer from back in the days when I was actually doing a sales and business presentation talked about the power of silence a lot. Okay, and he used to say that something is very important when it comes to silence, because silence, he said, always feels longer for the speaker than it does for the audience. Because the thing is that you are in a different cadence. Going back to what I said about pace, it's because the way you're talking, you are already in movement. but your audience is not a movement. So your audience is really captivated. Your audience is your audience is really following it through, but the audience is not in the same pace as you. So when you actually have a silence, like a point of silence, you'll be thinking, wow, this sounds like an eternity. But for your audience, it's not. Okay, so your audience is at another level. Your audience is actually following you. Your audience is engaged. So really think about that. And those dramatic pauses also allow you to think, to gather your thoughts again. Okay, don't be a robot, please. Don't speak robotically. Don't speak like a programmatically. Don't speak like a AI, Chat GPT, whatever. No, you want to really take the time to muster your energy, to actually articulate, to have a conversation, and most importantly, you have to enjoy it. Why are you having a conversation if you're not enjoying it? Because otherwise, you're just wasting your time and you're wasting your audience's time too. Okay, so you gotta really find the time to enjoy what you are doing in the first place, and that's gonna help you a lot. If you're trying to really improve your voice as a podcaster, tone is an important element, and if you want to vary the tone. Now, varying the tone is really is very powerful because you can actually increase like hey or go down oh. You can actually have those things that the way I'm talking right now. Oh, I think we have to do this. We have to do this. No, we have to do this. So the cadence, tone, cadence, tone. The thing is that when it comes to varying the tone, everything depends on your audience, but most importantly, it depends on the content you are delivering. It depends on the timing too, because if you are, for instance, if you are discussing a time-bound topic and your audience really cares about the sensitivity of the topic, you're not going to have the same tone as if you are discussing any regular topic, right? It's one of those things where you have to see what works for you and what doesn't work for you in the first place. So there is something really powerful when it comes to varying the tone, because the thing is that you are emphasizing an important element throughout your delivery, right? And the tone doesn't have to be a very high or low. It really depends on the most prominent parts of your delivery. And if you know your audience pretty well, you know what works for them. You know the elements they care about, and you know also that timing plays an important role. For instance, basically, if you have a 1 hour podcast, or let's just make it a very let's make it simple. Let's say you have a 30-minute podcast. Do you want to actually vary the tone at the beginning and at the end, or you want to do something in between? Or do you want to really slice and dice your podcast in a section, and you can say into 5 sections or 4 sections, and say, you know what, at the beginning of every section, I'm going to raise my tone, the tone of my voice a little bit to draw attention to the topic I want to talk about. So varying the tone of your voice is another critical aspect of your vocal instrument. Change the pitch to help deliver a more memorable message. And it's one of those things where you want to really, again, you want to make sure that your audience really is pretty in tune with the kind of message you are having, okay? But it's not going to happen overnight, by the way. Don't expect you to be a master or a mistress at varying the tone of your voice overnight. It will take some time, but once you get it, once you are in a situation where you can actually vary the tone of your voice, you're going to feel very powerful. It's one of those things where practice actually makes better. You want to start little. You want to do it every day. You want to really have a conversation with yourself. Remember that you are having a conversation with your audience. You're not giving them a lecture. You're not lecturing them. You're not giving them a speech. This is not a Toastmasters presentation. This is a conversation. This is a family conversation. So the more you think about this as a conversation, the better your flow is going to be. The better your cadence is going to be. The better your delivery is going to be. And the more comfortable you will become, because you'll feel as if you are talking to family or friends. And whenever we talk to family and friends, normally we feel more comfortable. Next, I want you to keep your sentences short. If you are trying to really improve your voice and delivery this year, you want to really don't actually keep very kilometric sentences where you just talk blah 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 blah. No, keep your sentence short. The thing is, you are trying to attract the right audience, and you want your audience to understand what you're saying, right? It's all about drawing them in and keeping them engaged for a long period of time. And nowadays, as folks are distracted by so many things, it's very important if you want to really keep your audience hooked that you keep your sentences short. And brevity is actually the salsa here. Brevity is the sauce here. Okay, concise but precise. It's not just about being short and you offer no value. No, you are short in terms of your delivery, but you are offering a lot of value. Okay, and so keeping your sentences short and punchy helps create a natural rhythm to your shows. Long, rambling sentences are difficult to follow. They are also difficult for your listeners to follow. Remember, you are not giving a speech. You are having a conversation. Imagine, around Thanksgiving, you are around, dinner table and you start talking blah, 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 and you just lose everybody. You do not want to have this sort of experience. And one thing I want to say is that when you think about your podcast, this is not a course on a PhD topics. You want to engage with your audience. You want them to remember what you are saying. You want them to remember you as a podcaster. And most importantly, you want them to actually be loyal listeners. You want to create a community. So if you want to create a community, you want to start speaking to your audience as community members, as family members, okay? And one thing I want to say is that if it feels like you are going on a bit, stop the recording and script that particular segment, okay? That means what? It means that you do not actually understand what you are talking about at that particular time. That's why you just be talking over and over and over and over without saying anything. So what you want to do is you want to find a way to break it down, to break that session down into a series of short sentences. Remember, again, I want to say that brevity is going to actually make you win in the long run, especially if you are trying to really improve your voice in the long run. One thing I want to say also is that when you actually, if you want to improve your voice, besides being natural, besides actually talking like you would normally talk, you also have to pay attention to the kind of feedback your audience is giving you. Audiences are very, very nice, and they'll tell you, I mean, if you ask them, they will tell you, hey, listen, we like this part, we don't like this part. And that's kind of cool. Let me give you a bonus here. So when you to improve your voice, it's important to actually work on finding your voice in the first place. Okay, so to find your voice, you need to just focus on one element when it comes to starting in the first place. Maybe start by working on your tone, then focus on the pace of your delivery, then focus on your cadence. To make it easier, use the following. If you're thinking about actually having a clear idea about what works, use the following three steps. Those three steps I want to share with you. Think first about your tone, then think about your breathing. Your breathing is really important, and then your delivery. Okay, and so remember, the more you listen to yourself, the more you get used to it, and the more confident you'll become in the future. Okay, and one day, finally, you'll be able to join the minority and stop saying, I hate my voice for good. And one thing you need to really understand is that it's all about practicing. It's not going to happen overnight, and you got to really accept it. This is not a sprint. This is a marathon. And if you inculcate this idea of marathon into your mind, it's going to help you actually get things done a lot faster in the future. Okay, it's one of those things where you have to really understand that you have a beautiful voice, no matter how crappy you think it is. You have a beautiful voice. Your voice is actually needed in this universe, and your audience actually will benefit from your voice. The more you practice it, nothing is actually a gem from day one. Everything started as a raw element, but the more you work at it, the more you polish it, the more you improve it. Finally, what's going to happen is that you're going to really one day you're going to realize that, oh wow, this voice of mine is really beautiful. Okay, and one thing for sure, you also want to really have a conversation with other podcasters. Actually, engaging with your fellow podcasters can really help you too, because you are able to actually share ideas, share tips, share hacks, and share like all kinds of suggestions to really improve your flow. But remember that your flow is different. Your flow is unique and your flow is beautiful. So here are the closing remarks. In today's conversation, I spoke to you about how to improve your voice. I give you the opening remarks, the pro tips, the bonus, and now the closing remarks. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'll see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.